Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. As the week continues to chart on with or without us. Hope everybody's enjoying their morning coffee. For those that are joining us for the first time, welcome. For those that are coming back, I appreciate that. It means a lot to us. Shout out to my incredible producer, Andy, who is always right there. We've been talking a lot about this idea of overcoming challenge for those that have been with us. And yesterday we started this conversation about the difference between doing something once with a little bit of that one moment where you like jump into the pool. That's a strength. There's no question that there's a strength that you have to do something once. With Noach Weinberg, I keep on going back to Noach. I'm just constantly moved by him. Noach Weinberg has a whole thing where he speaks about the power to like jump in and, give up your life for God. And then he says, well, in some ways it's harder, believe it or not, to live for him every single day. There's like a moment of greatness. Everyone had that moment once where like you're at the pool and like you have one family member that doesn't want to go swimming because like they don't want, it's too cold, they're so uncomfortable, and all the kids are like, daddy, mommy, and they're like, well, I can't, mommy, and like that water's like just a little bit too cold. You know that feeling where the kids are swimming in like 60 degrees because they're from New York and they go down to Florida for vacation and it happens to be 61 in Delray Beach in January, and all the Floridians are like in coats, and all the New Yorkers are like, it's 61 degrees in January. Anyone know what I'm talking about? From the LA West Coast is like, what are you talking about? All the New Yorkers know exactly what I'm talking about. You go down winter break, you get like 5 days off. It's like 61 and windy, and you're still in the pool. And like all the kids are like, mommy, mom, and she's like, I am not jumping in the pool at 61 degrees. The pool's freezing. And then something like overcomes it. And then like you get that 1 minute of strength and you jump right in. That's great. And it's a moment of greatness, but that's not the greatness that we're talking about. What we're talking about is a life of greatness. What we're talking about is instincts of greatness. We're talking about something so much more subtle than a moment where you do something that is beyond you, which is valuable into itself. We're talking about the way we live our lives. If we're going to live our lives and try to overcome challenge, if we're going to be a person of greatness, this is the distinction: doing versus being. Doing versus being. You can do something great. It's not who you are. We have to like condition ourselves for greatness. We gotta habituate ourselves for greatness. This is what we're on. This is what we're on the earth for. So when we get to the end of our lives, it doesn't look just like the beginning of our lives with different details. It's sad, as hard as it is to say this in public. It's sad when you see a guy in his 60s making the exact same joke he made when he was a teenager. It's sad. It's cute. It's funny. We like it. We laugh. But there's a sadness to it. That the same now I don't mean that we should judge it. I'm saying if the processes that we're using hasn't changed in 50 years, all that's happening is we're just getting new details. That's not the goal. The goal is not to have new details. The goal is to have a new perspective. Doesn't mean you can't make jokes. Doesn't mean you can't like similar things. It means that your perspective has to always be growing and changing and reinforcing itself and clarifying itself. You have to condition greatness into who we are. And we do that first. And if you go back and review some of this, if this is all sounding brand new to you, by embracing the challenge, by seeing what it does for us. And it was really yesterday that we started to talk about this concept of instincts. When you spend time thinking, reviewing, you start to gain visibility on your actions. You start to pull what you did outside who you are so you can watch it a little bit. When that football player is watching game film, When he's in the game, he's playing the game. And then after the game, he's watching the film of himself. Now he's created a distance. There's a visibility. There's a third partiness. Now that little guy on the screen, it's him, but it's not him. Now we can look at it more objectively. I really should have gone left. I should have waited one more second. All right, the next time I go to practice, I'm going to practice holding the ball one more second. That little thing is life, or part of life. I review my day at the end of my day because I shouldn't have made that call. I shouldn't have said that thing. This happened to me yesterday. I share my life with you guys. I had a business call yesterday that the guy who called was, and I responded in a way that I wasn't mean, but I wasn't nice enough. I could have been nicer. And I've been down this road before in companies and spent a lot of time in different types of companies, and some of them are more dysfunctional than others. And a call came in yesterday about some conference and committee. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Can't another committee, and then afterwards, I'm like, all right, stop. And then you process. I could have been nicer about it. And then I called the guy and I just left him a message. I said, listen, I want to tell you that I'm sorry the way I acted. I should have been a little bit more. I should have listened before I spoke. Whatever. We're not perfect. We all make mistakes. And even if the mistake to someone else wasn't a big deal, it's still a mistake if you're growing. But the more time you spend, or the more intense time, not amount of time, if you spend most of your day reviewing and planning and not acting, you're missing it. The more intensity that you give the time to prepare what you're going to do that day and to review what you're going to do that day, the more you are cording off that as real thought time, and that allows you to play in the middle of action. Just to be you, just to go, just to do. And the thinking really isn't very analytical. The thinking really is very instinctual. Doesn't mean you can't be thinking during the day, but it means that you're spending more time doing than thinking. So you're not overthinking everything. Now, okay, let's get to the next level now. And this may sound a little, if you haven't read the book, this may sound crazy. But if you read the book that I wrote about 2 years ago called Unlocking Greatness, you sort of know where I'm going. Why is it that it's so important that we don't overthink in the time of action? And here's the answer. Because in order to become more, we have to become somebody else. Let me say that again, but let me just say it in a way that's slower. In order to become more, we have to begin by being somebody else. What do I mean? Now, stick with me for a few minutes. We'll start this today, and then hopefully we'll get to it tomorrow until we've tackled it with God's help together. Remember, your mind is neuroplastic. What that means is every time you have a thought, that thought creates a neurological connection. Okay, so let's make this simple, and I've done this in the show before, I'm sorry. The reason why I speak English isn't because I was born and I had this gift of the English language. It wasn't like God's like, I've got a soul that only speaks English. Like England, America, New York, where do I put the guy? He speaks 1,000,000 miles an hour and he has an accent, and New York. Doesn't work that way, right? God gives you the ability to learn anything. The kid is born in New York, grows up, and in his brain is a lot of potential neurological connections. The brain is incredible, but it's just a muscle. You grow up in a household, you're in New York City, you're in any English-speaking area, and as you're a little kid, you point at the thing that you want to drink, and your mom or dad goes, cup. And in your little brain, there's two little neurons that fire. One is a sound that goes cup, cup, cup. And you can't make it out fully. You're only very little, but it sounds like a cup. And the other is that object that's like circular. It looks like I don't know what that is even. And it's all happening, so, I guess somewhat consciously. You're a kid. So if you can watch your brain form, what you're watching is a sound and an image, and the neurons of a sound and image are firing. And as the psychologist, as the neuroscientists say, neurons that fire together wire together. And now, if you can picture in your brain, this is incredible. This is the gift that we have given to us by the creator of humanity. In your brain, there's like a little wire, you picture like a little connection, a little wire. That's like a little, like a circuit. Picture like an outlet, like a little, like a charger that connects a sound and an image. Now you didn't move. You stayed in New York or wherever in South Africa or in England or wherever. And then the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day, 100, 200, a million times you hear ka, and you see it. Cup. And now in your brain, neurons are firing, and now you have ka. And then it takes you maybe like a month, and it's cup. And all of a sudden that sound rounds out, and those images round out. And then you fast forward 10 years, and someone wakes up in the middle of the night, and they go, what's this? You don't got to Google it. Cup. The brilliance of our brain is that every second that our neurons are firing, and we're learning. That's how language works. Language is made up. That's how a kid can go to Israel, not speak a word, and in 5 years is speaking 1,000,000 miles an hour because his neurons are firing with new stuff. That's why you can go to work and not know what you're doing, or that's why you can go to your office and not know how to get there, and then after a month, your brain just shuts down completely. Like you wake up, you end up at your desk, you're like, how did I even get here? You ever get that feeling? You're at your desk and you're like, how did I even get here? Now, like our commutes are like bedrooms to living rooms, but like back in the old days where you actually had to go to work, how did I get here? Because your brain in the beginning was like, what exit? What stop? What floor? And then your brain, the neurons start firing. When you get in the elevator, hit 4. When you come out of the elevator, make a right. And then all of a sudden, you have billions of connections in your brain. Billions. But it's all happening based on your thoughts. Now, the way it works is it's called synaptic pruning. If you stop thinking of something, it starts to go away. If you think about it more consistently, it strengthens. So if your parents give you 400 words for cup, you're never going to get cup, or it'll take you a long time to get cup. But if all you hear is cup, that same word and that same basic cylinder, it'll connect, and then you'll learn cup. That's why you ever watch little kids, like it's the cutest thing. They say words wrong and we love it. Cheos. And like if they were like in school, they'd get a 50 and like, we'd have a conversation with the parents and maybe like discuss medicine. Like because they're 2 or they're 1, it's like the cutest thing ever. So we're taking pictures and showing grandma. The kid has so much positive reinforcement for even trying. The kid's motivated to keep on going, which is a whole conversation into itself. That's how we learn things. We round out information. You ever watch your kids sing a song and they get like half the words right? And it's adorable. So you love it. So you let them do it. And then they just keep on going until they get the words right. What's happening is your brain's rounding out new information. And your brain right now, as we talk, is making new connections, getting rid of old ones. That's why habits are so hard to break. Because every time that when you were a kid and you felt nervous, so you started biting your nails, every time you feel nervous, your brain goes, I know what this feeling like, nerves. You know how you're going to relieve it? Just bite your nails. That's why it's so hard, because it's an actual connection in your brain. You're not trying to, it's a habit. You've got to and how do you redo it? Well, we could spend hours today, not today, but we could put hours talking about this. But understand that your brain is malleable. It's changeable. It's adaptable. You can build a habit now that you didn't have 10 years ago. You can learn information now that you couldn't learn 10 years ago. And by the way, you know who knows this? Kids. They live with this. I was telling over to, I think I said it here. I said it somewhere. I don't remember which Zoom. Like, you're living in a world like my whole life. You're just looking at a screen all day. Oh, no, I didn't say it here. On Friday, there's a show. For those who know this, every Friday is a Bring Shabbat Home show with Project Inspire. If you want to find out more, just text me on Instagram or here on the chat room. Andy will get you the information, but it's a great show. So we spoke about it this week, actually. I was on the phone with the principal of my kid's school for good reasons. His child got engaged. I wanted to call wish him Mazel Tov. said to him, I'm like, I got to tell you something amazing. I had an experience with my own son. You're a student. That gave me a lot of enjoyment. I said, I've been using Zoom for 5 years. Momentum, one of the great organizations that I'm a part of, they've been using Zoom since I think Zoom started. Like, I use Zoom the exact same way. I click on video, microphone, and I start talking. That's about the extent of it. And I think I learned how to record. And I'm not like technologically like unsavvy. My kid figured out Zoom 10 minutes ago. Like 2 months ago, they didn't know what Zoom was. Now he's got 7 classes. One of my children, God bless him, I see him walking around the hall in my house during the day. I'm like, where are you? What are you doing? He's like, nothing. I'm like, you've class now. He's like, nah. And he's like getting uncomfortable. So I walk into his room and I see that there's you see all like the pictures, all the videos. There's a picture of him with his head down. He knew it 5 minutes ago, meaning he didn't know Zoom. Within 10 minutes of learning Zoom, he figured out that you can screenshot a picture. So he took a picture of himself with his head down, like as if he was studying, took a picture of it and put it on his screen as his background. So now his teacher looks at the video and sees him pretending to work, and he's taking a walk. Now I'm like, I couldn't be more prouder of you. Like, I cannot be more prouder of you. I told this principal, he's like, please, that's nothing. There are kids that know how to video themselves in background that. So you see the kid like going like this. Because kids understand that I'm still building that. I don't know this consciously. They're still building the neuroplasticity. They're learning and growing and learning. Adults already, like, if I didn't know it already, like, I'm too old. I'm too old. I can't do it. I can't do it. Can you fix it? Can you figure this out for me? Is there a kid around that can figure out my technology? How can they do it and you can't? Because their brain works better? No, because they're kids and they're not fixed in their mindset. They grow, they change. They use your brains. Now, of course, certain things get fixed over time, but understand this, that there's a lot of your life that you're going to condition to yourself. Now, here's the thing that I want to throw at us before we end today. Now, just stick with me for a little bit. Well, if your brain is always changing and adapting, and whatever thoughts you have change your mental structure, right? So let's use language, for example. If for whatever reason I moved to Israel now, and now I have to communicate through Hebrew, over time, I'm going to get better at Hebrew. So that means that I'm going to be sitting at a desk, and I'm going to have to learn to say an expression in Hebrew. I didn't know it before. I'm going to learn it. I'm going to say it a couple times. In my brain, there's going to be a new neurological connection that says, say this word. And then I'm going to, after some time, be able to say it. Process is outside me. I prepare it, and then it becomes inside me through neuroplasticity. If this is unclear, drop me a message, and wherever we post this, and we'll do, wherever you see this, drop the message if this is unclear, and we'll clarify it tomorrow. God's help. Now watch. That means that if I want to act this another way, forget the information, forget language, forget directions, forget how to use technology. Let's assume it's acting. Let's assume it's, I want to be patient, but I'm not a patient person. I want to be courageous, but I'm not a courageous person. Now, let's stay within the world of, let's stay out of extremes. You're not sort of clinically, just stay in the world of regular. What that means is that if I go into a scenario and pretend to be more courageous, if I act as if I'm more courageous, what I'm doing is I'm giving my brain new experiences. My brain never saw me as courageous. And now that I'm doing this thing and I'm not responding impatiently, and I'm not shirking the level of responsibility, now my brain is exposed to a piece of myself that it was never exposed to. Usually when it gets uncomfortable, I book. Usually when the kid says something like this, I yell. But now when the kid says this, I don't yell. Now my brain has 2 new firing neurons. When that kid screams, I stay patient. And there's a thin little wire that gets connected. Now, kid screams, I scream has got a thick, strong rope. But now I've got a whole new way that I've just created in myself. When I hit this wall, I usually fall. But what if I pretended that I was courageous? My brain doesn't know the difference. I pretended I was more courageous. I didn't feel like I was courageous because when I get to that wall, my brain says, we've been here before, neural connections, hit a wall, fall. What if I say, okay, I feel like I should fall because that's what I've been always doing my whole life, but I'm going to pretend that when I hit the wall, I stand. And I don't think it's me. I know it's not me. I know I'm the guy who falls, but I'm going to pretend. I'm going to act as if I was courageous. I'm going to act as if I was patient. And I'm going to do it anyways. And here's what happens. Now you've created a new neural connection. You see that? And if you keep on acting as if, at some point, that connection gets stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. And then when you hit that moment, you have this side, which was who you were, and this side, which is who you are. There's a lot of Torah in this. This is why on the Seder we act as if we left Egypt. This is why it says in Tehillim, Hamanti ki adaber, I believe because I spoke. The hack to your life, is acting as if. Within reason. If you're very nervous, don't jump out of an airplane. There's gradations. This is called, we got to do it +1, which we'll talk about. But I just want to throw the concept at you today. The way you grow is when you act as if you are a higher, more revised version of yourself. You're like somebody else. You look at someone else and go, I want to be like that. And then you act like it. And when you act like somebody else, even though it's you, what you're really doing is you're beginning to build new neuroplasticity that will ultimately allow you that to be you. You're learning a new language called patience, called courage, called organization, called connection. This is how marriage works. Nobody walks in knowing how to be married to another person. This is how parenting works. Nobody walks in knowing how to be a parent. You have to act as if. And then let all the good habits roll in. Okay, we'll talk about this again. If you're coming for the first time, thanks. You can watch this. This is on YouTube, WhatsApp, Facebook, Momentum's page, my page. You can Zoom us in the morning if you want to come live on the Zoom. Just drop us a note and we'll get you the information. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, don't make it a good or great day. Try to push for awesome. It's been an honor to be with you today, and I really, with God's help, can't wait to speak to you tomorrow. Have an awesome day.